Hey, what's up? It's Nick Pagliochini. I'm back in Garden Grove, California with another installment of, well, I'm not going to take Amy King from KFI Wake Up Call out and about with Amy King, but I'm definitely out and about in your neighborhood here in Orange County in Garden Grove. Back again to talk about the 64th annual Strawberry Festival or Garden Grove Strawberry Festival that is taking place over Memorial Day weekend. So if you've already caught This Weekend with Nick and gotten the details about it, or checked out thisweekendwithnick.com, you've got a whole 411 about what's going on here in Garden Grove. Otherwise, you can always check the link in bio at Nick Pagliochini or This Weekend with Nick. But you've already probably caught, and if not, you've got some homework to do, my interview with Mark Mahoney, who's the current president for the Garden Grove Strawberry Festival. But today, I am very pleased to have a new friend, Andrea Perez, who is the Director of Community Services and PR for the Garden Grove Strawberry Festival. Thank you for being here, Andrea.
Thank you for having me.
So let's jump right into it. You know how this goes because you got to sit through Mark's version of it, and hopefully she already watched that. But talk to me about you as a kid. Let's start out with born and raised in Orange County?
Nope, I was born in Chicago.
Oh, nice. Okay, so talk to me about Chicago. When did you move out here?
I was 9.
Okay, so young.
Yeah,
So
young.
not quite as much, but and to pull back the curtain a little bit, because we love behind the scenes, we already were talking about Portillo's, and the one in Buena Park and the one in Moreno Valley, while delicious, are nothing like the Portillo's that are in Chicago. So it is well worth you to go well beyond the Southland for the weekend and check that out if you have the opportunity. Otherwise, we do have them in Buena Park and Moreno Valley, which is lovely. But so born in Chicago, moved out here when you were 9. How many? What's their family like? Mom, dad, brother, sister?
My dad passed away when I was 19.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I have an older sister, a younger sister, and I'm in the middle.
Okay. Is mom here as well? Did you?
No, mom lives in Florida.
Ooh, okay. We'll unpack that later.
Yeah.
So when you were young, and I know this might be taking you back to, whatever, but when you were in Chicago, what was it like when you were young? Obviously, you're looking at, barely out of preschool into grade school at that time period. And I'm sure a lot of your, Inside Out from Disney Pixar, your core memories are made here in Southern California. But what was it like when you were a kid growing up? You and your 2 siblings, like when you were young?
We had fun. Like, we did all of my whole family lived back there. My mom's family lived back there. My dad's family was back there. So we were always, every weekend we were going to my aunts and uncles' houses. We were in the basement playing.
Okay.
We were running around the neighborhood.
See, I'm not going to lie.
It was so much fun.
Having basements is something we don't know here in Southern California.
Yes.
And I'm very, very jealous about that.
I love that.
So with that, go ahead.
Fun fact,
Yeah.
I learned how to roller skate in my basement and ride my bike in my basement.
See, yeah, this is what I call rubbing it in. Which is great because I think it's fantastic. But I'm like, I want to be able to roller skate and ride a bicycle in my basement that I don't have. Very jealous. That's great. So obviously you're into sports and you're into outdoors. Did you play any normal, like what people would consider normal sports or like team sports?
I did softball once.
Okay, so one game or one season?
I think it was a couple of games.
Okay.
That was about it.
How old were you?
Although, I think I was 12.
Okay, so you were in junior high? You were here in Southern California at that point. Junior high? Grade school?
7th grade, I think.
7th grade, okay. And so how did that go? What was that like?
Well, I liked it, but I think I was in the wrong league.
Oh, okay.
So I don't even remember that memory. I just remember that I played it for a little bit.
Okay.
1 game or 2 games, and then
I think we all have stories like that in our past where we don't remember every little facet of them, but they do, I have found in my experience, contribute to where we are now. And I think that's always, it's worthwhile to have that memory even if we don't have every little facet of it, only because there's a good possibility that there's some little iota of that has led to where Andrea is now. So take me back to, and I know this is my favorite question, folks that listen to This Week Up with Nick and in conversation with Nick Pagliochini, which is this is a part of, is I love to know your nicknames. Okay. So when you were a kid, did you have nicknames?
I did.
Okay, and what were your nicknames?
It was Amie, or Amia.
Okay, so walk me through why your name is Andrea, and we dropped the N and went straight to the M.
Because my older sister couldn't pronounce the N.
Okay.
So she would say Am.
Uh-huh.
And so everyone just made their own version of Am.
Okay.
My mom calls me Amia. When she's mad at me, she says Am.
Wow, so it's not even like Andrea middle name Perez. It's Am when your mother's mad at you. That's funny. Okay.
Yes.
Well, I love that. Does anybody call you any nicknames now as an adult?
No.
Hey, you?
No. No, surprisingly enough, I've met other Andreas that go by Andy.
Yeah, I've got Drea. I'm trying to think
Yeah.
like all the different people.
Nope.
But that's
they just
good.
Call me. But yeah, maybe it's because everyone says, how do you like your name pronounced? I don't have a particular way. I love to hear all the different versions of Andrea.
But see, I think that is a versatile thing that a lot of people don't have. And I think that probably sets you apart in your warmth and your connection with people, and probably fits well with your community services role as a director here, only because you're patient, because you're willing to be flexible, because you have, you know, that idea where it's not hard and fast. There has to be a little bit of gray area. So that's good.
Well said.
Thanks. Been doing this for a few years. With all of that, though, so 9 years old, you moved out here. And where did you end up in Southern California, Orange County?
Anaheim.
Great. So Anaheim, just like Mark Mahoney, something about Anaheim, and it doesn't seem to be Disneyland, is the draw.
No.
So,
I don't know why my parents chose Anaheim, but that's where we ended up. And I loved it, you know. We went to Disneyland all the time back in the day when they had the tickets.
books.
The ticket books.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Because I was born in the 80s when they were getting to wrap them up. So I experienced them right before they went away. I also worked for Disney for 5 years, so I know all that fun history. But when you were here in Anaheim with your older sister and younger sister, was it? Okay. I don't remember if it was a younger brother or younger sister. What was that like for you guys? Because that's a huge culture shift from Chicago to here. We don't have seasons.
No.
We have mild color changes of leaves sometimes, depending on what kind of tree is planted in front of your home. You actually have changes. I mean, my husband is from, was Chicago. His dad was from Chicago, but my husband's family is from Minnesota, and they have 2 seasons. They have snow and construction because the roadways are being worked on when there's not snow. So what is it like coming out here? I mean, 9 years old, you already know how to roller skate and ride your bike because you learned in the basement. So like, this is the world is your oyster here in Southern California because we have beautiful weather. You can take that outdoors anytime you want.
Yeah. I think we all loved it at first.
Okay.
Because I remember snowstorms. Even being 9, I remember having to walk in the snowstorm with the snow past our knee. I mean, I think the year we left, there was a huge snowstorm.
Okay.
So it was nice that we didn't have all that coldness. And honestly, I love California. There's nothing like California. So I didn't miss the snow. I don't like the snow. I don't even like to go up to the mountains when it's snowing.
She cover your ears, Arrowhead and Big Bear. Cover your ears. It's okay.
It's pretty. It's beautiful. It's too cold for me.
She loves the postcards.
Yes.
So with being in Anaheim and then going to school out here, what was that like for you? I mean, obviously we had that 12-year-old, incident with softball, but what's the story about growing up with school for you?
School's totally different because the school I went to was one building, 2 stories. So we would take steps to go up to different classes. So we didn't have campuses spread out. So it was it was weird because it was completely different.
Got it.
People were just different. It was a different, I don't know how to explain it, different mentality, just a different upbringing. But I don't know. I adjusted. I was young enough to adjust.
Okay.
So
what were some of your favorite classes, subjects, activities when you were a kid growing up? Recess and lunch? I mean,
recess.
that's usually, but like, at least for grades, yeah, but I was gonna say, no, sometimes it's that. Sometimes it's, I liked art, I like student leadership. I was in ASB.
Unfortunately, I never did any of that. When I was in grade school, I was 5th grade when we moved here. I used to go help in the library.
Okay.
So I loved the librarian, and I used to, help her check out books and shelve them and all that. And today, I work in an elementary school library.
See, so and the only reason, and people are always like, you ask so many questions that are so off base, but why is for this. We literally were able with that one, not to go back to Disney Pixar Inside Out again, but that one core memory was one of the little teeny tiny facets to move you to where you are now. And I think that that's an absolutely incredible thing that we don't think about enough and we don't remember back to. So as you moved into teenage years and adulthood here in Southern California, what did that look like for you? Did you have a good time? Were you a party animal? Were you, Miss Librarian Bookworm? What was the story for you there?
I was very shy.
Okay.
I went to school. I did my work. I actually was on the gymnastics team in high school. So all 4 years I did gymnastics, but I was just very shy. So I didn't get involved with a lot of stuff.
I have to commend you because you were so worried about softball with maybe 3 games at most, but you were doing gymnastics. That is incredibly athletic, incredibly mentally and physically, It's a lot. That really is. And I think most people love gymnastics for maybe the Olympics and when they come around every 4 years and love seeing that or watching the nationals on ESPN 9 or wherever they end up these days.
Yeah.
But it really is specific to where, you came from, because you obviously learned probably sportsmanship. You learned teamwork. You've learned a lot of things in that aspect. But then I think too, I was a swimmer when I was younger. And both gymnastics and swimming are very individual sports. Even though you're on a team, you have to go through the mental and emotional and physical conditioning. And people always laugh about emotional, but there's a certain component to it. So that really helps develop you out into being someone new and someone different.
Yeah.
So I think that's exciting to have done that, and to have done it your entire high school career. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
So any extracurriculars? I know you said you didn't do a lot, but what was your favorite fun thing to do when you were a teenager or moving into your 20-somethings?
I worked. I didn't do
What was your first job
it's
then?
So sad.
No, that's fine. What was your first job?
I worked at Wendy's.
Lovely. We
And
do
worked
love a
at
square
Wendy's.
patty.
Yep.
Okay.
I was there for, I think, 2 years, and I played Wendy 1 year.
Okay.
Really fun.
I can't wait. Okay, so we're going to pull back the curtain really here. This is when you take away the proscenium arc, because you're going to meet Taylor, who is Andrea's daughter, and you're going to meet her in a very special way. And so make sure that you tune into part 2 of this In Conversation episode, because you're not going to want to miss that. So talk to me about, after playing Wendy and working in Wendy's, what did education look like? Because obviously you had something to move into, being a librarian now, years later. So what did higher education or not look like for you?
No, I graduated. I went to Fullerton College, and then I went to Cal State Fullerton.
Okay.
Graduated with human services. So I'm not a librarian by trade.
Okay.
That's a whole master's degree or
Sure.
something. So no, so I did that. And then my final year of college, I met my husband.
Oh.
And after dating for 6 months, we eloped and got married.
Ooh.
Yes.
You have to excuse me, Taylor's off the screen, and I'm looking at her going, "Ooh, girl, we got some stories to talk." Okay, sorry, go ahead. So so you met 6 months, eloped. How did you meet? Where'd you meet? Wendy's? No,
I was
totally kidding.
I was a waitress at Spoons. Oh, no longer around.
No, in Buena Park, no. Which
No,
Spoons?
Essentia, the one by Cal State
got it.
Fullerton.
Okay,
Well, it's
got
not
it.
there
Mhm.
anymore, but
Nope. Even though I was an Inland Empire kid when I was born and raised in Altaloma and Rancho Cucamonga initially, I spent a lot of time in Orange County, so I know a lot of those, and I miss Spoons.
Me too.
Which, if you don't know,
So
if
good.
you know, good.
So
If
good.
you don't, we're thinking of like an Applebee's or a Chili's kind of idea is what you would compare it to now, but it was a different thing at that point. So anyway, Spoons
Yes.
is where you met, and what was that flirting like?
well, actually, I didn't meet him at Spoons. Sorry.
Oh, you were working at Spoons.
Yeah, I was
Right,
working at
okay.
Spoons. We had a mutual friend that he was my customer, came in all the time. He was the singer of the band that my husband was in, and the singer invited me to a party, and then that's where my husband and I first saw each other, but I didn't date him at first.
Okay.
It took a while for him to ask me.
Like
'Cause I would see
days?
him at some parties
You
with my
eloped
mom.
in 6 months, so like,
Right.
okay.
So we kind of knew each other a year, but we would only we'd only see each other at parties.
Okay.
And only from parties that my former customer would invite me to.
Interesting.
So yeah, it's kind of a
I like this backstory. You are your own drama. I think it's because I think the funny part too is these are also stories that we don't think about as time goes by. And they again contribute to where we are now. But some of those stories are so fun. Some of them are obviously traumatic and Lord knows. But some of them are really fun to look back on. And they really are part of who you are.
yeah.
So you dated for 6 months, got married, and then what did the future look like? You have kids, obviously. I've already talked about one of them. So
Yes, only one.
You got one.
Only one, but we were married 9 years before we had her.
Okay.
And then I don't know, and I've been a stay-at-home mom ever since.
That's good though.
Yes, I would never give it up. I wouldn't give it up for anything.
But for me, and I think having done these In Conversations and just talking to a lot of people over time, parenting is a full-time job in a good way.
It is.
And it requires a lot of mental, emotional, and physical. And I know I use those 3 terms a lot, but it requires a lot. And I don't think that people appreciate it. I think that there's an assumption that is made that I have to get up at 3:30 myself. We're just talking about me. 3:30 every morning to be on the radio at 5 a.m. And then I am on live from 5 a.m. until 11 a.m. And then my day doesn't wrap up there. I have to go do interviews just like this or anything else. And it's so hard, but parenting is 24/7, 365. You don't get a day off. You don't get a vacation. As your children age, hopefully you're able to take a little bit more time to yourself, but it doesn't matter until the day you're no longer around. You're always going to have that kid in the back of your mind, even if they're 30, 40, 50 years old, and you have no control over them. And always worrying about, did I do the right thing? What all these things? So parenting is that job that I think does not get the rep that it should have. I think it is an incredible job. And having met your daughter, I know you've done a damn good job at it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
So let me give a real quick tease because I want to move into talking about the festival in part 2. But to wrap up part 1, how did you become aware of the Garden Grove Festival, the Strawberry Festival, and how did you become a part of it?
So my husband and I, when we moved to Garden Grove in '94, and we used to come to the Strawberry Festival.
Okay.
That was during the time when the gangs were pretty bad. So we would only come in the morning. We never would,
After
come
dark.
here in
No, I remember
dark.
once the twilight set in. Yeah, I understand.
And then we stopped coming for a while. I'm not sure why. I think maybe because Taylor was born or something. I don't know. We just would get busy. But I started getting involved with different organizations, volunteering. And then, everyone in the city, they're all interconnected. So I actually became a part of the board through one of the wife of one of the original men that started the Strawberry Festival.
So one of the
board.
quote unquote founding Strawberry Fathers.
Yes, thank you.
Thing. No, it's fine. No.
That's right.
No. I love that. Okay. That's great though. That's fun. And to also pull back the curtain a little bit, you also are really involved with one of my favorite organizations, Children's Hospital Orange County, CHOC, and also with the Lamplighter Guild. So, which is something that we'll be talking about in a future in conversation, but we're going to stay focused here on the 64th annual Garden Grove Strawberry Festival. Andrea, this has been a pleasure. You're not going anywhere. You should not go anywhere. Be sure to check out thisweekofwithnick.com or Nick Pagliochini, as well as This Week with Nick on Instagram, the link in bio. We'll have details about the festival and so much more for you to do in and about this weekend.